everything's fine on 93.9 Dublin South FM.
So without further ado, I will take a news because Charmaine is waiting in the newsroom. So Charmaine, you take it away. And this is the news of the week called India This Week.
Good afternoon. You are listening to India This Week on Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM. In the latest development following on from the violent attack in Indian-administered Kashmir that killed 26 tourists and injured several others last week, Pakistan's Information Minister Atullah Tarar has said that his country has credible intelligence that India is planning to launch a military strike within the next 2 days. He said that India intended to use the attack as a false pretext for a strike and that any such military adventurism by India would be responded to assuredly and decisively. The attack near Pahalgam was the deadliest attack on civilians in 2 decades in the disputed territory. Indian authorities said they had conducted extensive searches with more than 1,500 people detained for questioning. India has not named any group it suspects is responsible for the heinous attack. A little-known group called the Resistance Front, with Pakistan militant links, which was initially reported to be responsible, has denied involvement. India has undertaken a number of diplomatic measures against Islamabad in light of the killings in Kashmir. One of them was shutting the Attari-Wagah border between the two countries. India has also cancelled visa services to Pakistan nationals with immediate effect. Of grave concern is India's suspension of the Indus Water Treaty. Pakistan has said that any attempt to stop or divert water will be considered as an act of war. Airspace between the two countries has been shut down as the tension deepens. At least 14 people, including 2 children, have been killed after a massive fire broke out at a hotel in the eastern state of West Bengal. 2 people were also seriously injured in the fire, which started on Tuesday night in Kolkata city. A special police investigation team is trying to establish the cause of the deadly incident. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said he was anguished by the loss of lives and announced financial compensation to the families of the victims. Poor planning and lax enforcement of safety regulations often plays a part in the many deadly fires reported across India. Last year, at least 27 people died in a massive fire at a games arcade in Gujarat, while a few months later 10 newborns were killed in Uttar Pradesh after a blaze broke out in a neonatal unit of a Jhansi hospital. US President Donald Trump said on Wednesday that tariff talks with India were going great and there was a possibility that the two nations had struck a deal. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also said that the US might be closing in on a trade deal with the world's most populous country. India and the US are working towards securing early mutual wins as they push to finalise key components of the proposed bilateral trade agreement before the target of September-October deadline, the government said earlier this week. Productive sectoral export level engagements have already been taking place, with meetings planned at the end of May. Temperatures in India and surrounding South Asian countries are already sweltering in heatwave conditions, according to meteorologists, in what they say is fast becoming the new normal. Temperatures in the region typically climb through May and peak in June before the monsoon brings relief. This year, the heat has arrived early, with a quick transition from a short window of spring conditions to summer-like heat. South Asia, home to 1.9 billion people, is particularly vulnerable. Many live in areas highly exposed to extreme heat and lack access to basic cooling, healthcare or water. In Delhi, where spring offers a short spell of mild temperatures, thermometers have risen past 40 degrees C in April, up to 5% above the seasonal average, according to a report by Climameter, a platform that tracks extreme weather conditions. They say that human-driven climate change is to blame for the dangerous heat seen in recent weeks. Climate expert and co-author of the report, Gianmarco Mengaldo, said these spring heat waves are not anomalies, they're signals. We need to move beyond awareness into action. Delhi authorities urged schools to cancel afternoon assemblies on Tuesday and issued emergency guidelines to ensure water breaks and stocks of oral rehydration salts in first aid kits. Temperatures in Jaipur hit 44 degrees. triggering heat stroke reports among construction workers and farmers. Temperatures are expected to climb steadily across the subcontinent, with more above normal heatwave days predicted, according to the Indian Meteorological Department. And finally, 14-year-old batting sensation Vaibhav Suryavanshi became the youngest player to score a century in men's T20 cricket earlier this week. The Boss Baby, as he is nicknamed in cricketing circles, easily beat the record of 18 years and 118 days for the youngest player to score a T20 century for the Rajasthan Royals against Gujarat Titans. The talented young cricketer from Samstipur in Bihar took down some of the world's best bowlers in a thrilling 38-ball innings that included 11 sixes and 7 fours. Suryavanshi is the youngest player to get a contract at the IPL auction. Rajasthan signed him for $103,000 in December 24, and he's expected to be playing at international level very soon. So that's all from India this week. You have been listening to Apna Radio 93.9 Dublin South FM.
Thank you very much indeed, Charmaine. And you packed everything very well in a nutshell, basically. India this week, that's what it is. From the war to the cricket, India never stops.